Good evening. I'd like to call the regular September 6th Temple City City Council meeting to order. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Yes, ma'am. Councilmember Chavez?
Here.
Councilmember Fish?
Here.
Councilmember Mann?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Sternquist?
Here.
Mayor Yu?
Here. And next item is invocation and also the Pledge of Allegiance. We're very fortunate tonight to have actually two pastors here. We have Pastor Andrew Kickert with Sunrise Community Church, but we also want to acknowledge that Pastor Darrell Cauty from Community of Christ Church is here tonight. Just a few words before introducing your church before you start. Pastor Kickert is with Sunrise Community Church located at 9642 East Live Oak Avenue. He has been elder at Sunrise since 1997, raised up to teach elder or pastor in 2001. He's a solo pastor, but served with two other elders. Sunrise Community Church shares their facility with Westminster Presbyterian, services are in English. They are a non-denominational Christian church, and thank you very much for coming. But before you start, I want to also introduce the young men that will lead us with the Pledge of Allegiance. It is provided by Troop 174. The Scouts presenting the colors are Andrew Dew, Derek Lee, Darren Malatson, Noah Okada, Nick Colbin. The troop's next activity will be a rock climbing merit badge class at Arcadia Rock Climbing on September 17th. The boys will spend the night at the facility, learn how to do rock climbing, and earn a merit badge. They meet every Thursday from 7:30 to 9 at Westminster Presbyterian Church near the corner of Temple City Boulevard and Live Oak. They are backpacking, backcountry, camping, or high adventure trip. Any boys interested in backpacking are very welcome. So at this time, please rise for the invocation.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to come together as a community, and we ask for your blessing and your wisdom to be bestowed upon these councilmen and women as they seek to guide this city. Father, we ask that you would give them insight and direction, that they would rule justly and fairly, and may your grace be poured upon Temple City today and forever. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Detail, forward march. Detail, halt. Post.
All those not in uniform, please place your right hand over your heart. Scout salute. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
2.
Detail, about face. Detail, forward march. Detail, halt. Please be seated.
Right, thank you. Thank you, pastors, and Troop 174. Next item is ceremonial matters, and we have Pet of the Month. I would like to ask Ghost Jeskuzur? Oh. She's with the St. Gabriel Valley Humane Society, and she will introduce the Pet of the Month.
Good evening. My name is Gosia Yashtur. I'm a volunteer at San Gabriel Valley Human Society, and I'm here to introduce you Munchies. Munchies is our 10-year-old American Staffy. She came to the shelter surrounded by her former owners when they moved to the place that didn't allow dogs. But she lost her home in her senior years. However, she didn't lose her spirit. She's still very happy, funny, very affectionate. She might be okay with other dogs too. We never saw any inappropriate behavior with other dogs. She's still quite energetic, so she will benefit from daily walks. She's just a great dog, and I hope that we will find home very soon for her so she can spend the rest of her doggy life in a peaceful home. She's very affectionate. She ignored all the cats in my neighborhood today, so she might be good with cats too. She's just a very, very good dog.
Yeah. Oh.
Very nice.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good luck. My wife was here, she'd want.
Well, you can still take. You can still take.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
So next item is Temple. We want to recognize Temple City 14U All-Star, and at this time I would like to call our head coach Scott Macias to introduce the coaches and players. And this time, last time I asked Councilmember Chavez to help, so this time I'm going to ask Councilmember Fish to help me with the recognition later on. So, Coach,
Hi,
please
good evening,
introduce your team.
My name is Scott Messias with Temple City ASA 14U softball, girls softball team. We came together, 20 girls in the team, in the league, and ended up with 12 girls on the tournament team. We finished first in the Wine Valley tournament in Murrieta. Finished second in Northern District, and finished third in state, which qualified for nationals, came up against some pretty good teams, and had a very good time.
All right.
I'd like to introduce the coaching staff. Ando Salcido,
Come on up.
Rick Pegg, Nathan Garcia, and the team mother, Gina Messias. Thank you very much. And also would like to recognize the parents that are here that, without them, our team wouldn't have been successful. We practiced pretty much every night, and again, thank you very much, parents.
I'd like to invite my fellow council members up to help
All right.
pass out their certificates. I wanted to congratulate the team, the coaches. Thank you, young ladies, for representing Temple City. Want you to know some of the fondest memories I have is of my daughter playing softball and my son playing football and representing Temple City. And you will remember these days, and you will wonder how you did it with school and homework and craziness, but you know what? You're going to miss it. Just remember that. So, What I'd like to do is, as I call you up, I'm going to give a certificate to our council members. They'll give it to you. Jerry's going to take a picture and then stay up here for a group shot. Okay? So what your certificate is going to say is City of Temple City, Certificate of Recognition, presented on behalf of the citizens of Temple City to the 2016 Temple City Girls Fast Pitch Softball. The first person is Alejandro Ariano. She's not here. Do that one. Amaya Salas. Desiree Diaz. Jessica Pegg. Leah Castanado. Megan Morales. Miranda Garcia. Maya Salcido. Natalie Castro. Skylar Surreal. Victoria Isaac. Oh, it's not here. Oh, this one's not here. And then I have some certificates for the coaches. Nathan Garcia. Rick Pegg. Ruben Salcedo. And of course, Scott Messias.
All right, here we go.
Congratulations. Good job.
It's just like appeared on my. I love it when they just appear. Yeah, she's so sneaky.
You know, if I could just, you know, girls, before you leave, I just want to let the audience know that I think it was must have been about 10 years ago that Mayor Pro Tem Sternquist and I were on the Parks and Rec Commission. And that's about when ASA came to our city.
I was there too.
And were you on the Parks at
Yep.
right at the beginning? That's right.
Right at the beginning.
And I'm so pleased that this organization is doing so well. And you guys should be proud of yourselves and proud of it. It really looks great when I see that Temple City right across. And,
Believe me.
Thank you so much. And anybody who played in the softball game, the staff softball game a couple of weeks ago, knows what it takes. And you guys would have killed us, I think, if you had played us, I'm sure. But congratulations again, and it just reaffirms what we learned a couple of weeks ago when we had our baseball team here, and that is what a great group of young men and women we have in our city. And
Absolutely.
thank you so much for all you've done and to carry the city's name to other locations, and now they know where Temple City is, what Temple City is all about. So congratulations to you. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Pardon? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, there goes our audience. There goes our chatterboxes.
Oh, wait. Okay, the next item is public comments on items not listed on the agenda.
Nope.
And so I'd like to call Mr. Stafford.
Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem Sternquist, council members. I have been helping the deputies deal with the homeless, and I don't know if you've read about the drug Spice. I've seen it here on numerous occasions and called the station. And some of the things I've seen, you know, these people get on it, they can pass out on the ground. They can get wild. I saw a lady in Pasadena that apparently was on it that was completely naked on Oak Knoll, south of California. This has been a tremendous problem. They've taken, I know 2 weeks ago, they were taking 15 to 16 people to the hospital from Skid Row that were on this stuff, either overdosed on it or needed medical attention to get off of it. You know, it's gotten better here. I went by Lake Street today, where a lot of them hang out, and were none there. It's a big difference than a year ago. It's been tremendous difference. There's still problems, and it's not going to go away in 1 year. It could be 3 or 4 years. But the problems is here, and I actually went to Monrovia early last week when I first got home. I know a sergeant there, and I went with them to the park, and they made 7 arrests there at Monrovia Park, and there were 2 people unconscious from it. And they got 1 out-of-towner. And what everybody wants to focus on, you want to focus on the out-of-towners and stop them from bringing this stuff in. Because that's what it is. It's the out-of-towners. I've seen it here in Temple City Park. And the deputies will get them more than ever because they bring it in. They don't care what happens to the people they give it to. I've seen stuff here. I've seen it all over. And has gotten better here, and it's gotten better in Pasadena. And it's going to take a lot of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Stafford.
Steve.
Next, I'd like to call our librarian, Ms. Jin Lee.
Good evening, Mayor and the City Council. We had a very successful summer reading program. We have over 1,000 kids signed up our program. And among all the 88 county libraries, we actually ranked #1 with online summer reading program participate. So kudos to Temple City. We're very happy this year. So here comes the updates. This coming Saturday on September 10th from 10:30 to 11:30, we're going to have a Moon Festival celebration. There are going to be dance and also martial art demonstration and calligraphy and face painting for all. Another thing is our annual bookmark contest is going to starting on September 12th and last until October 29. This is open for children from kindergarten to 12th grade. And on September 14, Wednesday, from 4:30 to 5:30, we have a kickoff party. So you can come to the library to pick up an entry form and create a winning bookmark contest entry. All art supply will be provided. This year, the theme for the bookmark contest is read for the fun of it. Please join us for the Global Cardboard Challenge and build something awesome. Drop in on September 17 to work on a project using cardboard, recycled materials, and your imagination. All material will be provided. The Cardboard Challenge will run from Saturday, September 17 to Saturday, October 1st. So the youth can participate in 3 categories: kindergarten to 2nd grade, 3rd grade to 5th grade, and 6th to 8th grade. One winner from each age group will receive a maker kit. This program is sponsored by our friends of the Temple City Library. Thank you.
Thank you for the
Thank you.
updates. Next, I'd like to call Miss Nancy Terry.
Oh,
Oh.
them.
All right.
Nancy Terry turned into two people.
Yes, Nancy and Terry.
Hi, I'm Christy Wong.
Hi, Christy.
Hi, I'm Cody Wise.
Hi, Cody.
And we are representing the Sister City Australia trip. We're just two of the 6 students who got to go on this amazing trip. Unfortunately, the others had prior commitments and weren't able to come, but we're here and we're representing the 6 of us. Do you want to?
We just wanted to thank you guys for allowing us to go on this amazing trip. I know that we've all had a lot of fun and we've all made a lot of memories with the people there, and we can't explain how much we appreciate you guys. So.
Thank you.
And we're going to have some special guests here in a few days, aren't we?
Actually, on September 15th to October 15th, 6 more Australians who hosted us during our stay in Australia, they will be coming to Temple City, staying with our families, going to school, experiencing what America is like, just how we went over there and got to experience what Australia's like. So hopefully they get to make some unforgettable memories like we did. So to thank you, we have some Tim Tams from all the way from Australia. So thank you so much. We really appreciate all of your support. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to make all these unforgettable memories. So thank you.
Thank you.
Very
Thank
welcome.
you. Thanks for coming here.
These are amazing. Okay.
Yeah,
These are like
yeah,
my
they open
favorite.
it.
I just want you to know may not make it home. I might eat them in the car.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, miss.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you for coming up. Appreciate it.
Thank you, the Terrys, for all your hard work.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
for coming. Next item is the consent calendar. All items may be approved in a single motion as recommended, unless polled for further discussion. Anybody would like to pull any items?
Motion to approve consent calendar?
Second?
It's moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Chavez?
Yes.
Councilmember Fish?
Yes?
Councilmember Mann?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sternquist?
Yes.
Mayor Yu?
Yes. So the consent calendar has been approved. Next item is public hearing. There is none. Next item is unfinished business. It is the determination of final wording for the Temple City Veterans Memorial and plaques.
Mayor Yu, members of the council, Director Burrows will give a brief overview of one piece of unfinished business related to the Veterans Memorial, which is moving forward at a very good pace. We have a very good contractor that's working with us. So a couple pieces of things as we move forward, but we must move with them expeditiously in order to meet the deadlines that we're looking for related to completion of the project. So with that, Mr. Mayor.
Or it's just a quick question. So you said the deadline meaning it needs to be approved
Sorry.
tonight, right?
It would need to be approved tonight in order for us to have construction completed before Veterans Day and the ceremony. Thank you for the clarification, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Director Burrows.
Thank you. Good evening, council members. As the city manager mentioned, this is our last bit of business we want to complete. Just as a brief overview, on July 5th, the City Council approved the plan submitted by RHA Landscape Architects for the memorial. August 16th, at your last meeting, the council awarded a public works contract to Green Giant Landscape, Inc. for construction. On August 24th, we met with both RHA and Green Giant to discuss the process for submittals, request for information, change order request, was our kickoff meeting. At that time, Green Giant indicated to staff that production of the bronze plaques, which we'll discuss in a little bit, is about 6 weeks. So we wanted to bring this item back to council as soon as possible to get the final wording for not only the plaques, but the center monument as well. As indicated, construction of the memorial is expected to begin next week, actually. The fencing will go up with all work at this point indicated by the contractor to be completed by October 26th. The final determination on the wording for the center monument and the plaques is needed at this time, as Mr. Cook mentioned, so we can finalize that last piece. So the first thing we wanted to discuss was the center monument itself. There are 2 levels for wording. They are indicated by the yellow arrows on the picture. The upper level is a concrete panel with text originally planned to be on both sides, the same text on both sides. The text on this one is 5 inches high, insert 1 inch into the concrete. Lower level, very similar, except the text is 10 inches high, inserted into the concrete. So what we've done is looked at some other monuments, looked at some options for wording, and have 4 recommended for you. These are in no particular order. They can be mixed and matched. We are open to any other suggestions as well. These are what staff came up with. The first line would be the top, the second would be the bottom. Temple City is proud to honor our veterans. We remember, we honor, we celebrate. Temple City is proud to honor our veterans. Thank you for serving our country. Temple City Veterans Memorial, honoring our heroes. Temple City honors our veterans with respect, honor, and gratitude. For the plaques, and I'll just finish the staff report and then we can go back and have discussions. The plaques themselves, and it's hard to see in the picture, but they are bronze identification plaques that will be placed under each flagpole, identifying the branch of service. The plaques are designed to be 12 by 24 inches under each flagpole. The original plans by the architect just called for the name, Marines, Army, Air Force, but we wanted to discuss further whether that is what the council would like or if there are other options. We looked at, again, other plaques on other monuments, and all of these have been, are very common. One is the name of the branch of service along with the motto. For instance, Marine Corps, Semper Fidelis. The only problem with that is not all branches of the military have official mottos. They all have some motto or unofficial, but not all of them have official mottos. We could do the seal of the branch of service, or if we wanted to just keep the name, we recommend that at least the United States be added so it's very clear United States Marine Corps. So with that being said, tonight we're just asking for discussion and final determination. We'd like to start, well, it's up to the council if you want to start with the plaques or the center monument. Not sure which one would be easier to tackle first, but we need determination on both tonight.
Let's start with the plaques.
Let's start with the plaques.
That's okay with the mayor.
Yes, please.
Okay. Do you want us each to choose 2? Want to narrow it down to 2, or do you want to? Okay, I have a question. Does anyone have something other than these 4?
No.
Okay, so we're going to decide from these 4.
One thing I should mention is we haven't been able to get a final determination as to whether there would be an increased cost for the plaque if the seal, the logo was used. In trying to get some basic information, there are some sign companies, plaque, bronze marker companies that already have the military seals in stock, so they would not charge more. It depends on where the contractor is planning to get the plaques. So there could be an additional charge, but we don't know at this time.
Right. Well, we should open for, so we should probably, first of all, entertain council questions and then open up for public comments, and then we can make a decision. And we go first with the plaque, and then we'll go the wording. So.
Oh, wait. Oh, we're going to do the plaque first?
Well, that's what you suggest anyway.
Yes, because there was just some hesitancy from.
Oh, I don't care.
So I just jumped in.
I made up my mind.
All right. So.
I don't have any questions.
If no question, I'd like to open for public comments on this item, on the plaques. Any public comments?
Mayor Yu, Mayor Pro Tem Sternquist, council members, city staff. I like the plaque that has the branch of service and the name. I think that's more honorable. My dad and mom, both veterans. And the other thing.
Wait, the branch of service and the name, I don't know what you're referring to. We have,
There's,
are you talking about the branch of service and then the motto?
no, there's one I saw that was the branch of service said Navy, Marines, and the name of the person.
No.
No.
There isn't one.
There isn't one?
Which person would you be referring to?
Well,
These are just general, the different
Okay.
armed forces.
There'll be
Okay.
plaques of the
There's five
five
of them.
armed forces,
Yeah.
5 armed forces.
not individual members.
You know, I think this is great what we're doing. I just wonder if we should be able to put the names of the veterans that were here in Temple City with it, rather than just a branch of service.
I don't think that's before us right now.
That's not before us right now.
We
Okay.
can always do that at another time.
You know, the other thing is I saw the first line, you know, number 1. I like that the best of all of them. I think that's,
We're not talking about that one either yet.
yeah,
But-
and I think,
But we can make a note of that.
all right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Any other public comments? Okay, we'll close public comments. Any council comments? Who wants to start first?
Yeah, I'll start.
Councilmember Stearns.
Well, of the 4, I like the emblem. I think it,
The seal?
it's the seal, yeah, the seal.
Yes.
I think they're very respectful, obviously, they've been around, I think people will recognize them. I think it adds a little bit more to it, a little, I guess, fancier, I guess you could say, rather than just the plain lettering. Again, my only concern was the difference in cost. If it was significant, then of course that would have an impact on my decision perhaps, but all things being equal, I think I prefer the seal.
Okay, Councilmember Mitt?
Yeah, I like the seal too because it stands out. Each branch has its own unique emblem. If you just have the letters, it kind of all reads.
Kind of loses something.
Yeah,
Loses
I think there's more
something
there's more of
personal.
an impact value to having. I just make sure we get the correct seal logo right.
Yeah.
Councilmember Fish?
I agree. I like the seal. I would like to see it as big as possible on the plaque so that you can read the wording. But again, I know that, you know, it has to do with cost and everything. But I do think it looks finished, looks like an actual memorial rather than the wording, just kind of cold. So I would recommend the seal.
Mayor Pro Tem Sternquist?
Definitely the seal.
Okay. I agree with my fellow council members. The only question I have is that, will we be able to get high-quality seal as a background? Because sometimes that takes a while to get.
We're going to have to look into that. The plans as they were bid were for lettering on them, so we're going to have to take a look at this. I would request at this time, just so we don't have to come back and put things on hold, if there's an issue with the seal being on it or the logo or a substantial change in the cost, maybe you give us a second option.
I think that's a
Just
great
in
idea.
case.
You know, the only problem I have with that is that then we're not really making determination, because it's like, I would like to come back to us to determine that, rather than just making a second one right now, because I would like to know what the issues are, because to me, if everything is done except for these seals, and maybe the seals are gonna take another couple of weeks, I think we might as well go forward with it. I mean,
Absolutely.
we're gonna, because these are gonna go where the flags are anyway.
Correct.
So the flags would be there. So I would
That's a
be
good point.
reluctant to do a second choice
Okay.
at this point. I would hold off until we know what we're dealing with. Because this to me would be this is not a deal breaker if it's not on there at the time of
Correct.
the ceremony. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. Well, let's make a. guess the
So I would make a
for that.
motion, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, just
I would
go
make a
ahead.
motion that we that we've, to select for the bronze plaque, the seal for each individual armed forces.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Chavez?
Yes.
Councilmember Fish?
Yes.
Councilmember Mann?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sternquist?
Yes.
Mayor Yu?
Yes. So the seal is the council decision. So next we move on to the wording for the center monument. I just have one quick question on that. When you say there are two layers, so the top line goes on the top and the bottom would go on the bottom.
And you said it'd be on both sides, correct?
The original plan is to have the same wording on both sides. It could be, if there was a longer verse that was selected, it could go all the way around. For instance, and this was kind of roughly designed around the one in Amani on Valley and Santa Anita. They just have one text that goes all the way around the upper end, one that goes around the lower. So it could be done that way, but it was planned to have the same text on two sides.
And I'm sorry, is the text going to go on the upper level and the lower level?
Yes.
Okay, so the first line will go
On the upper level.
the second line will go on the
Correct.
bottom level. Okay.
Correct.
So then you're not gonna have two lines on each level?
No,
Okay.
no.
All right. So it'll be big wording, it looks like, so people can read it pretty much.
Right, the top one would be 5-inch lettering,
Okay.
and the bottom would be 10-inch.
Okay.
And what kind of lettering are these?
It's cut into the concrete.
Is in, okay. So it was, I guess it's cast into the concrete when the concrete's poured.
Yes.
I just have a question. Will the lettering face that opening? And is that opening parallel to the street?
That is something that the council can decide as well. That is to be determined in the field as the wording is. So it depends on the orientation that the council would like. It could be where the wording is facing the flags of the armed service and the opposite side, or it could be the openings.
Sorry,
No,
open
I
can of
think
worms.
I think that's a very good question, because my preference, of course, on the way it's set out right now, that as you're walking in that
Yeah,
pathway,
that's what I
you'd
think
be able
too.
to read it, but I don't know if the other pathway, it doesn't look to me from this
It doesn't.
this picture that the other pathway is on the other side. So in effect, if you were to do that, you would have two of the same saying kind of close to each other, and then you'd have a big gap. So in other words, if we go by this, you'd have the lettering here so you could see as you're walking in, but then as you're walking in from this side, you're gonna have the lettering here, and then on the back, it's gonna be completely blank. To me, it would make more sense to have, wherever you have the lettering on one side, it'd be on the
Yes.
opposite side, whatever that may be, but.
So it just repeats itself.
Yeah, so people on each side can see it, but I would say that I would prefer, because it looks like this front one is from the street, right? Is this, this
But
front one probably fit?
Right, but I
hard
don't,
to tell.
but I don't think
Oh,
it's,
no, this front one faces Las Tunas, it looks like to me.
The front one
Correct.
faces Las Tunas.
Yeah.
The
Correct.
bushes, the greenery you see to your left
Is that-
may or may not remain there
Okay.
after the project is completed. So there could be a larger opening. Our recommendation, I think the original intent was to have the wording facing the flags of the armed services, the circular there, and then the backside, the circular wall as well.
Yeah.
But again, it doesn't
I
have
don't
to be
think it
that
really
way.
matters that much, yeah.
and is there a reason why it has to be the same on both?
I think it was just so so there was only one quote, for want of a better word, and that it was, you could see it from almost any direction. Again, you could do it so it just went all the way around, and not duplicated.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
So basically, the saying's gonna go in a half circle, and then it will repeat again for the.
On the other
That's
on
the
other
original
side.
plan.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Can you get that?
Well, I want to open up for public comment on this item. Any public comments? Yeah, Mr. Jambazy, please.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Jerry Jambazy. I like number 4, so I just want to state that.
Okay.
Are they numbered?
Well,
Yes.
Mine are
Well,
numbered.
not on here they are, but
Oh,
on here they are.
here. They're numbered.
Oh, they're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, any other public comments? Yeah, we got that. Yeah, we made note of that. Okay, thanks. Anyone else? Okay, we'll close public comments. Council comments. I'll start with Councilmember
Well,
Fish.
I've narrowed it down to number 1 or number 4 also. I could go and be happy with either one, but I guess my number 1 choice would be number 1.
Can I throw something out there?
Absolutely.
Tom mentioned this, that we like the, we remember, we honor, and we celebrate, but because there was honor in both of them.
Yeah.
What
You
about-
generally
Let's
don't
change
want 2 lines with the same
Yeah, I
word
agree.
that close together.
I
It's kind of
circle those.
redundant a little
Yeah.
bit.
So how about
So-
Temple City Veterans Memorial? Is that the one, Tom?
Yeah.
We remember, we honor, we celebrate.
Make combine.
I could go with that, yes.
I like Temple City Veterans Memorial because it reminds us that that's what it is. I mean, it's ours. And then I really like the words, we remember, we honor, we celebrate.
So
And
do
then
I.
the one in number 4 with respect, honor, and gratitude also. But again, I think, I just recall the last Veterans ceremony that we had last year. And it was all about remembering and really honoring, and it was a celebration of all of that. So that was kind of what got me thinking about that. So I would I would combine 1 and 3.
So can we call that option 5?
You can if you'd like. You're the
No,
mayor.
we can. No, so that we can, for ease of discussion
that's
here.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
No, I like that idea.
all right.
So you get both of both worlds. And like I said, the ones with honor I think is great, but to have it that close together in 2 lines, I think is a little redundant sometimes. And
Okay. And Councilmember Matt?
That's a very good point about the repeating word.
Yeah.
However, the one thing I like about number 4 is the word gratitude. And I was in between what you said, Councilmember Chavez, and now I was trying to think of an alternative to incorporate that word in there, but nothing comes to my
I
mind.
was doing the same thing last night, trying to go back and forth about, but the thing about the first one is that, it's consistent. We remember, we honor, we celebrate. I wouldn't want to destroy that continuity.
Exactly. It kind of goes.
So it's like you almost have to go with the one word, and I don't know how we would say gratitude with one word in that context. Maybe instead of celebrate, we, I don't know, that's hard.
That's a hard one.
I also
Yeah, that's a hard
think
one.
that by just having the memorial, it is a symbol of gratitude in itself. So I think that would be the natural thing. I mean, why would you want to do it if it wasn't because we're grateful for the service that they provide? So I think it's more inference than, it has to be said. But I just love that idea that Tom had about combining those 2.
But I know, they're all good words.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
It's just a question of how they fit together.
Yeah.
Because if you look at number 4, it does fit together with respect, honor, and gratitude. That does flow together.
Well,
But,
Well, you know what flows is, we respect, honor, and gratitude. With respect, honor, and gratitude, we remember, we honor, we celebrate.
well, then it's a
But
longer
it's really
line.
long,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I like the.
Well, we don't want to put with respect, honor, and gratitude, and then say we remember, we honor, because then again, you have that repeat of honor again.
2 honors.
So you'd have to drop one of those probably.
Does it say anywhere on it, Temple City Veterans Memorial, other than this?
No.
That's the only place.
Okay.
That's the only place.
I think it's important to keep that in there.
No,
know
I
people-
agree.
I know some people would argue, well, it's obviously in Temple City.
I was
it's
just
a
wondering
Veterans
if it was
Memorial,
somewhere
Kind
else.
of repeating what the obvious is, but sometimes it's nice to take
We need
ownership
that,
of it, and
yeah.
this is the Temple City Veterans Memorial. If somebody's taking a picture of it and they don't know what city they're in, well, they'll know it's a Temple City Veterans Memorial.
Okay, so we were talking about Temple City Veterans Memorial.
And then
We
we
remember,
remember, we
we
honor,
honor,
we celebrate.
Correct, as
So-
number 5?
So, yeah. Councilman Chavez, any more comments? or-
No, that's all I had. I mean, I was throwing a few words in there instead of celebrate, although I think celebrate's a good word. You know, just we care, we salute, you know, but I think celebrate is kind of a good summation of why we're doing this, you know, because we are celebrating in effect what these men and women have done for our country and our city and everything else.
Mayor Pro Tem?
That's my favorite.
Okay.
Option
Yeah.
5.
Option 5.
Yeah, me too. I like option 5. I like the suggestion, and what I really like it when I first read this is that the use of the word "we," and because that I think it's much more
Community.
personal.
Community.
I mean, the Temple City is one, but still, we individually, in remembering, we honor you and we celebrate, and then also celebrate. I think really put a very positive spin, because sometimes, yeah, you know, men and women are sacrificing a lot, but still we need to celebrate what they have done. It's not just you know, giving, but we also want to celebrate their successes. So.
Well, I think that word "we" kind of makes it more of a community. It
Right.
brings us all together and really.
So that's where we stand in
else?
the.
All right, so I would
That's
make
good.
a motion that, that the wording read as follows. On the first line, I would read Temple City Veterans Memorial, and on the second line under that, it would read, we remember, we honor, we celebrate.
A second?
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Chavez?
Yes.
Councilmember Fish?
Yes.
Councilmember Mann?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sternquist?
Yes.
Mayor Yu?
Yes. So yes to the motion. So we have new wording. Moving on to the next item. That's new business. Adoption of resolution number 16-5193, adopting the Temple City Multi-Hazard Mitigation Plan. And Mr. City Manager.
Mayor, you members of the City Council, before you tonight is the culmination of a lot of work over the last few years, and I'll be careful with a word I was going to use, perfunctory, but I will not use that word, as I've been
Thank you.
commented in the past. But this is somewhat of a routine action in the sense that this is required by federal law, required by FEMA. While we were having this plan under review, we were still in compliance. So if a disaster did happen, there wasn't going to be any adverse actions taken against us. But what this does is it is not our emergency plan per se, but what it does is, Mr. Azumi will quickly point out, it does identify what FEMA requires us to look for in terms of natural hazards, what we're doing to mitigate against them. One of the big ones that comes up sometimes is floods. As we have two members of the council who work for the County of Los Angeles and one of the largest flood controlled districts in the country outside on the West Coast. No, we are actually mitigated against a lot of floods in this area. So while the one area that we did go back and forth with FEMA on was actually the identification of the flood control districts. And so that is identified in the plan. It is not per se a risk. Obvious biggest risk is earthquakes, which is identified in the plan, but there is a section that was bigger than would be usual with that. So with that, Mr. Mayor, I'll let Mr. Arizumi give a brief overview of the hazard mitigation plan and look for, we require your approval.
Yes, Mr. Arizumi.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. As City Manager stated, there were some changes in the Stafford Disaster Act that FEMA imposed on cities, and they took a new emphasis on pre-disaster hazard mitigation as opposed to post-disaster mitigation. Part of that was the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000, or the DMA 2000, which requires that every local, county, and state government conduct an assessment of natural hazards that pose a threat to their jurisdiction. Once those threats are identified, determine the potential financial impacts of those hazards, to create a plan to mitigate these hazards, and then implement the plan to reduce the impact of the natural disasters. And that leads us to where we are tonight. The purpose of the Temple City's multi-hazard mitigation plan is to have a strategic planning tool available for the reduction or prevention of injury and damage from natural hazards. We all experienced the windstorm, so we are very well aware of the strength that Mother Nature can cause on the city. Temple City's multi-hazard mitigation plan identifies which natural hazards Temple City is vulnerable to, determine the impact of each identified hazard, establish a list of potential mitigation actions, and prioritize the actions. And so, as City Manager stated, we have been working with FEMA the last few years to have an approved hazard mitigation plan, and we did receive tentative approval from FEMA. We worked with both the State Office of Emergency Services and the Federal Emergency Management Agency to come up with this plan and incorporate their corrections and comments into the plan. So tonight, final approval from FEMA requires a formal resolution from the city adopting the multi-hazard mitigation plan as part of the city's planning process. So tonight, the City Council is requested to adopt resolution number 16-5193, adopting the Temple City Multi-Hazard Mitigation Plan. I'd also like to bring to the council's attention tonight, there is a small typo on the resolution. On the first line where it says, on October 30th, 2000, the Disaster Mitigation Act it should read 2000 instead of 2002. And so that is a small typo that we caught.
Mr. Izumi, adoption of a plan, I think is also a prerequisite to getting FEMA aids or something like that, right?
It's a mandated plan if you want to receive any federal reimbursement in the event of a disaster.
Is this why we had trouble getting funds, or I don't know that we were going to get funds when we had the windstorms? That was a whole nother issue.
No, that was a whole other issue. If you have a plan that's being reviewed and in process, you're still eligible. And we went through this iterative process with FEMA to go through that process. So the city was not vulnerable of not being reimbursed. That was just a process issue, and you actually accrued that revenue last year from the windstorms.
We did get money?
Mm-hmm.
We
a little under $100,000, I believe.
Really? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that, so it's good to know.
Yeah, because if I remember correctly, at the time, it wasn't a question of whether we were entitled to funds. There were just no funds available because they were robbing Peter to pay Paul.
That is a whole other issue related to what, we've actually made some adjustments as well in terms of what FEMA will reimburse over time. So yeah, that is a separate, for lack of a better term, battle that you fight once you cross that threshold of actually declaring a local emergency, and all the steps through SIMS, NIMS, and everything else goes through, and how we work through that process.
It's good to know that we got something.
Yeah,
it is good.
The audit committee will actually get a report on that as well.
Great. Great. Any other questions for Mr. Rizzoni or City Manager? This time I'd like to open for public comment. There's one speaker request, Mrs. Stafford.
Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem Sternquist, council members, and city staff. One of the things in the flood area that concerns me is there's several alleys that people have put their own stuff in and blocked. One of them's on my street, and I found out from Michael Ford, it's a flood control channel, yet they repaved it. They put a fence up, they have tools out there, and I've seen this channel flood before when I was very young. It was 3 feet deep and the water roared through there. It's a very important area there because it takes it out of the neighborhood from Broadway and drains it down on all of where there's storm drains. And I know of another one I've seen over the years, Green Street, before it ends at Arden. People have done the same thing. They block it, they fill it with their stuff, and there's no way in a huge storm for it to drain. Another one is the end of Blackley, between Blackley and Temple City Boulevard. People put up a fence and they block it. These belong to the flood control district.
In the channel?
Yeah.
Well, we don't have control of the channels, first of all. I think that's controlled by the LA County. I don't know that there's anything we do. And I can't believe that there's a fence that some private person actually put up on the channel.
Yeah, Councilmember Chavez, they are
Why don't
property
you
of the flood
let the city
control
manager
district.
know what that is, and I think we should probably alert the
flood
county to
control
that.
Yeah, this is-
district, no,
Yeah,
yeah.
whoever.
Councilmember Chavez, this is.
I don't disbelieve you, I'm just saying.
No, I'm just saying, it's gone on
surprised.
for years, and
Well,
people park, the one on my street, they park a motorhome in there, they park a car. You know, if there was ever, if we get a huge storm and that thing floods, those cars could get pushed. I've seen the water roar through at about 20, 30 miles an hour, whoosh, like this.
Well, I
I
trust
remember walking
that
out
city
after a
manager's
storm.
taking notice of the location,
You know.
so I'm sure we'll check it with the county.
Wish I could do it, Mr.
All
Mayor.
right. The other thing is, some of these earthquake faults that we see are probably some of the most dangerous faults, because they haven't moved in a long time. They're constantly moving a little bit. And my grandfather lived in Rosemead, and those faults from there, like the Whittier Fault, the Rio Hondo Fault, they all go into that area there where there's a valley between Whittier, the Whittier Narrows Dam and Whittier. You can see the drops if you're on the freeway, the 605 freeway. You can see the hill where it drops off. And it does the same thing in Rosemead, where they all come together. There's a big drop off at Jackson Street and New Avenue before you get to Graves. For years, there weren't any streets there because they kept buckling and moving. And it just tells everybody something. Those things are gonna move one day. We need to be prepared. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak on this item? Nope. We'll close public comments. Any council comments?
Just one brief one. I know we've mentioned in the past, you know, I know about, we have this hazard mitigation plan, and, you know, we have the emergency operations center just right there set up. Wasn't there a point in the past where we discussed council would try to run through a drill?
You
So
did
we,
mention that.
I'm not sure what happened to that.
I know that, I believe staff has had numerous drills regarding these types of matters. And I remember we did discuss having time when council would be involved with that, but we just never did it. Perhaps we can now revisit it, I guess.
Sure, Mayor.
I mean, that's up to.
Yeah, please, Mrs. City Manager.
Real quickly, so every staff member is trained in the basic NIMS and SIMS kind of 101, essentially the basic training, and that's JPIA actually asked us about that as well to make sure that is. Mr. Arizumi and I have spoken about doing what's called a tabletop exercise, not doing a full exercise, but that tabletop exercise would actually include the city council as well, and your roles in the case of an emergency, and what you would do as policymakers related to that, your roles in the community. A lot of reassurance and communication is one of the key aspects of what the council's role is. So we don't have a definitive date for that, but that's actually on my program list as well as Mr. Azumi's as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other council comments?
You know, we've been working on this for a long time, I know, and I want to first commend staff and everyone who else worked on this, and it is a very comprehensive document. I think people need to understand that this document is not intended to prevent natural disasters. We have no control, the last time I looked, over earthquakes and floods and whatever else could hit us. What this plan does do is at least has in place a plan for mitigating those types of risks, what we can do to help. One thing that comes to mind, of course, is the windstorms that we had a few years ago, and that's even addressed in this plan as well. So, it's a great document. The only thing that I would like to see that, and I don't know if it's possible, because this thing is, how many pages is this? Almost 170 pages long. I remember when we had when we did the disaster, what was the one where we had after the windstorms and we had that consultant come in and they.
After action report?
Yeah, and it was and then we got like a summary of that. It'd be nice to get a highlight or summary of this thing, because you know what, that one I keep in my car actually. We got one and it had a summary of what we have to do, and you remember, who was that guy that did it?
Roger Mason?
Yeah, And I thought that was pretty cool, and I actually keep that in my car, so, and I know you don't need to do it immediately, but I think that would be my only suggestion, is to maybe get a council summary or something like that we
No, I
could,
think
a
it'd be
quick
great.
look, kind of a quick thing, okay, this is where we go.
No problem.
Move
Yeah,
reference.
it's
That would
the
be my
document
only-
you see before
Yeah,
you.
this hasn't even been approved yet.
Right,
obviously.
and all this is really the requirements of FEMA
Right.
related to that. So
We're not
yeah.
reinventing the wheel here.
No.
But,
Okay.
yeah, I know it's a lot of work, and like I said, you guys have done a great job, and, I mean, just how big it is, it's just obviously a lot of work that was involved in it, so.
But you brought a good point, that, what do you call it, the action plan? or-
I think what Councilmember Chavez was like a quick reference guide of the emergency operations plan.
Operation,
Right,
it was
emergency operations plan.
yeah.
Do we have any plans to update that yet? That's what I was,
Mm-hmm.
do we have any plans to update that, or?
We will be updating our emergency operations plan. There's been changes with FEMA side as far as plan approval, and so we may have to undertake a possible rewrite of our entire plan because of new FEMA standards.
You be working with the same consultant, or?
Staff will be working on that in-house
Okay.
and going out as needed.
Okay.
I just had one real quick question, I'm sorry. My understanding is this is a 5-year plan, so does that mean every 5 years we have to update it, or is that up to us, or is that part of the regulations?
There are requirements that the plan is updated. We will be reviewing the plan on an annual basis and making any changes. And then every 5 years, we would have to re-adopt and submit to FEMA for a new plan approval.
Right, any other comments? If not, we're ready for motion.
I'll make a motion. I'd like to motion to adopt resolution number 165193, adopting the Temple City Multi-Hazard Mitigation Plan.
Second.
It's moving seconded, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Chavez?
Yes.
Councilmember Fish?
Yes.
Councilmember Mann?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sternquist?
Yes.
Mayor Yu?
Yes. So the resolution has been adopted. Next item, communications. There is none. Update from Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Yu, members of the council, I have 3 quick items. First, if Ms. Burrows was not busy enough, you should have seen in the last couple weeks some repairs at the park, including some of the playground areas in and around Temple City Park as well. So we're working on repairs as we're doing a lot of facelift, upkeep, and new enhancements to a lot of our parks. So kudos to Ms. Burrows, she and her team. She's extremely busy right now, but keeping up with the maintenance as well. And I think if you look at the one here at Temple City Park, the repair doesn't look like a repair. Actually, it looks pretty sharp. Secondly, on Thursday afternoon, we received bids for the street improvements and the slurry sealing that you approved as the $1.5 million use of Measure R money. Bids came in we're pleased with many of the bids that came in. The city engineer, TransTech, and Mr. Kayer are reviewing those bids right now to ensure their compliance and their appropriateness and their reasonableness. We should be bringing that back to you at the next council meeting because we would like for award because we'd actually like to start work. It's not intensive work in terms of slurry sealing, so we'd like to actually start that work hopefully sometime knock on wood, hopefully sometime in October and before the rainy season starts. Lastly, you all were notified, but we're extremely proud, and I'm proud to announce to the public, one of our employees is getting a very great recognition in a couple weeks. As you know, Councilmember Chavez sits on the executive board of our California Joint Powers Insurance Authority, which is almost a little over 100 or so agencies throughout California who pool together to insure the city for everything, essentially, and we have a very comprehensive plan. One of our employees is being recognized as one of 5 in the state of California for her extraordinary work in the risk management field and actually dealing specifically with helping some things in Temple City. So hopefully she will be awarded the grand prize, but she is one of 5 finalists throughout the state, and will be joining you, and I'll be out with you for a day, being recognized at the annual training. So
I just want to make it clear, I had nothing to do with that. She did it all on her own. I don't want to take any credit. Don't want to take any credit for that at all.
no, I knew, and actually we actually have a risk manager who services our area. She didn't know until it was actually announced as well. So we're very proud of Karen Johnson.
Maria.
Maria,
Yeah, Maria didn't know.
Yeah, she didn't know
neither.
either.
So Maria Galvin. So
Great.
very proud of Karen. That is it for my report, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Updates from Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one brief update. I know back in May, Eric Bale updated you on federal and state regulation of drones and how that could conflict with potential city regulations. The FAA regulations were actually finalized about 10 days ago. They came in final form the same as they were in May, which is to say that there is no impact on the city's regulations. The FAA regulations only deal with drones flying above 400 feet. The city would only have the ability to regulate drones 400 feet and lower. So there's no conflict with the FAA. With respect to state regulations, Assembly Bill 2320 was adopted by both the Senate and the Assembly. We're waiting to see if the governor will sign it. If he does, that deals with certain crimes involving drone use, including use of drones to deliver drugs, use of drones for stalking purposes, things like that. Again, not much that the city would regulate. The bill that we were most interested in was Senate Bill 868, which would prohibit certain types of drone use and drone use in certain places. By enacting those prohibitions, the state could have preempted the city's ability to adopt our own restrictions. That bill died in committee in August, so as our current legislative session has ended, there is not any restriction on the city adopting drone regulations. We'll keep an eye on what's going on, and if the council does direct us to move forward with any regulation of drones, we can go ahead and do that.
I have a question.
Yes.
My concern all along has been both with the state and the local. It's one thing to pass the prohibitions. It's another thing to enforce them. And from what I've seen so far, it hasn't really been very clear as to that component of this bill that just died. And our second would be, even if we did decide to regulate it at the local level, we also have to figure out who's going to enforce it and how. And so far, I don't believe that the sheriff has been too interested in doing that. So it's going to take a lot of work, I think, and a lot of thought process. I know we've had residents come to us in the past that have been concerned about drone activity, but other than a few instances, I don't know if my colleagues have heard. I haven't heard too much more of that in the city.
No.
And I don't know, I mean, and maybe you guys don't have a recommendation at this point as our city attorney, but I suppose the state is probably going to bring it back in the next session in somehow or some way, maybe, and maybe wait and see on that before we decide to go full force into locally regulating something like that.
I think the state probably will bring it back, and I think that it's a good idea to watch to see what they do. I wouldn't have a recommendation right now because we would want to study the cities who have adopted.
There are a few cities, I think, that have done it.
I believe the
But,
city of La Cañada may be the closest.
Oh, really?
But
Okay.
we would have to be in touch to deal with just the issues you raise. Who's
Well, La
enforcing and
Cañada is
how?
they're a contract city, so they must be working with the sheriff somehow. Be interesting to know how they resolve that. Talk to Dave Spence about that. All right, thank you. That's all.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, next item, council reports regarding ad hoc standing committee meetings. Anyone? Any updates?
I don't think I have one.
Nope. Moving on to.
Oh, you know what? I know one thing that came to my mind. Didn't we form, oh no, maybe we didn't. We were talking about the public arts
Oh, we don't have it down. We need to write it down.
Did we set up we did set up an ad
Yes,
hoc.
we
We
did.
did, and I
do it
think
on?
I'm on it.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, you too.
You know, I was thinking, we need to put that on here, and then also, we
Totally.
need to get something going on with that.
No.
Okay, so just a
Also, should-
reminder.
Also, should we be getting rid of a few of these? City commissioner recruit,
No, because I think that has to stay open
Do we
pending
keep
what we
that?
do
Yes.
with the
Right.
the public arts.
no, I guess they're all still,
Yeah, I think we're all still.
okay.
All right, moving on. Council items separate from the city manager's regular agenda. Councilmember Chavez.
Just a couple of quick things. I just want to give a big shout out to our Parks and Rec department. We had a great time at Dodger game last week. Although they lost, but and it was a long game, but the fireworks were cool and the company was nice. We went on a big bus and got a chance to know a lot of people that I didn't know before, and very appreciative of what we do and how we do it. So it was a lot of fun and hope to do it again. Also, I know all of you are aware that Mike Koski has retired. Today was the first day, Kathy, that we didn't have Mike, and went by Parks and Rec. It was felt a little different not having him around, and so I know all of you join me in wishing him the best in his future retirement. I've known Mike ever since he came here, and was it '98? I think 98. Yeah, I think that was about the time you and I were involved in Little League and softball, and he
Yep.
was over at the park, and so.
Always a pleasure to work with.
Yep. So tonight I'm wearing, if you notice, my Little League World Series pin that every year Mike would go to the Little League World Series in Williamsport. That was his thing he would do every year. He just loved it. And I always told him I was going to go with him one of these days, and hopefully I still will. But every year he brings back a pin for me. And so I have a whole bunch of them, and I thought, well, I'm going to wear this one for Mike and wish him the best. So, Mike, if you're out there watching, the best of luck in retirement. I can't think of a man more deserving of that than you. So good luck.
Mr. Mayor, can I add one thing to?
please.
I had the pleasure of actually meeting Mr. Koski, Mike Koski's father, who was the
Yeah.
longest-serving city manager in the city's history.
Wow.
City manager since shortly after incorporation, I believe. So, a long-serving tenure, a record that I wouldn't mind breaking at some point. So, let's see what happens.
It's ironic that you would bring that up on the night that we were doing the review. Well, he was actually the second city manager, Kathy, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
he was the second, but
Second
longest
city
serving.
manager and longest-serving city manager. And let me tell you, he was at the retirement party last week,
Great, nice man.
and he is going strong.
Yes, he is.
I mean, it was good to see him, and he is a great guy, too. I thought to myself, how neat it is to be a father and be at your son's retirement. I mean, how many of us would get the opportunity to really do that? And I was glad for both of them, so.
I had the pleasure of meeting Mike's father when he was city manager, and gosh, how many years ago is that? 30-some years ago, when we were building our house and we needed a variance, and my daughter Brittany I think she was probably 9 or 10, and she came in and she had drew a picture of the house and brought it in, and didn't even give me a chance to say anything. She just says, "We want to build this house, and you're the man we need to talk to." And he was so nice and so cordial to my daughter, and I'll never forget that, and encouraged me to go ahead and build it, and we did. So I thank Mike's dad for that.
All right. Any more?
No, that's it, thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Fish.
Well, I guess this is Kathy Burrows' night. I'd like to thank her and Debbie for another very successful concert in the Park Series. I think that's one of our best events, longstanding. I get nothing but compliments. I have several friends that live in other cities that don't go to their city's concerts that are on the same night and come to Temple City because they are so much better. And I don't know how you do it, but every year you seem to top the year before. And the attendance is amazing. It is just amazing. other than the Khmer Festival, it's really kind of amazing how many people are in the park. So thank you again for that. And also for all the other summer programs. We have great parks, Campalooza, another very successful, we've seen that event grow. It has become a staple now, and especially for our young children and young families. I was not able to ever participate in that. My children were too old, but it's a great event. So please continue both of those. And that's it.
All right. Thank you. Councilmember Mann.
Well, I certainly hope Campapalooza continues so my
Yes.
son can go when he's
Absolutely.
old enough.
It's great.
I just have one item. I'd like to let everyone know that the sheriff's station is having an open house this Saturday between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And it's a rare occasion to
Yes.
kind of go in and check out the station, meet all of our deputies, meet the captain. And so I hope to spend a little bit of time there, even though
Excellent.
there's a lot going on. So hope everyone in the public can make it. I'm actually within walking distance, so I can just walk over.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's all.
All right. Mayor Pro Tem Strenquist.
Also, to piggyback on Parks and Rec, when I had met with Brian most recently, he shared that our Emmanuel Church, and it was on our consent calendar. And I think it's important to point out that there will be a adult league basketball and volleyball thing. So my husband is really excited. When I told him that he might be playing half court, he thought, his ego was a little bruised. But anyway, I hope that he'll take advantage of that. And I just can't say enough about how, proud I am that this council and our city manager and its staff has looked at the ideas that the council brings to staff and then, really explored them for the betterment of our community. We don't have a gym in Temple City, and I know our Parks and Rec director has always said, she's always been behind wanting a gym in Temple City. And this is really the next best thing. And I'm just so thrilled that we are doing this. And there is a dance studio there that's phenomenal. It looks like a true dance studio with the mirrors. And Brian, you shared that the kids are just having a great time with that. So maybe a Zumba class next down there for us, like the older adult basketball, older adult Zumba.
Mature.
Yeah, mature. But it's really, really incredible that a city as small as us can look at how we can really, involve our community in Parks and Rec and all levels, our seniors. So thank you to my council members for being supportive of that. And I'm excited beyond belief about our memorial. And I think in a few months, just to know that is going to be here, it's been something that, I thought would be such an asset to our city for so long. And I want to thank my council members and staff also for helping that come to fruition. It's just amazing. This is a great town. I love being here. I love working with all of you and staff. So thank you for that opportunity.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I too want to congratulate our city manager and Director Burrow and her staff for a successful concert in the park. I have a coworker who came to me last week and said, "Oh, I was at your city. What a wonderful program. You guys have a great city." So, I share some of that glory and thank you to all of you. I mean, people outside the city really look to us for a great summer program. So, good job. Moving on to the next item, reimbursement expenses to city officials. There is none. And then next item, we recess to the successor agency, the Temple City Community Redevelopment Agency meeting. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Yes, Mayor. Agency Member Chavez.
Here.
Agency Member Fish.
Here.
Agency Member Mann.
Here.
Vice Chair Sternquist.
Here.
Chairman Yu.
Here. Next item, consent calendar. All item may be approved in a single motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Any objections? Hearing none, motion is approved. Next item, unfinished business, there is none. New business, there is none. Communications, there is none. Any public comments? Close public comments. Update from the Executive Director and Agency Council.
Very briefly, Mr. Mayor, I usually don't speak during this portion, but you did notice on your consent calendar that you did cut a sizable check.
Yes.
And let me explain what that's for. Earlier this year, we actually refinanced and will be saving the taxpayers several $100,000 over the life of the loan that was issued by the redevelopment agency many years ago. So this represents that first payment and will actually reduce by 1 year the debt payment schedule for the redevelopment agency for the next over the next, I believe it's 9 years. So in the long run, we'll actually, taxpayers will be benefiting, and all the taxing entities will be benefiting by the successor agency's action. And this was the first payment of that tonight.
Great. Well, thank you for coming up with these creative ways to save us money. Matters from agency members. There is none, so we now adjourn and reconvene as the City Council. Any additional public comments?
Jerry?
There is none? Okay, well, we'll close public comments, and now we are adjourned. Have a good evening.